Welcome, I'm Scarlett Vespa, and we're here to share with the world that we're still sexy, smart and over 40. I believe there are so many things we don't know or understand that breathe life and action into our life. I always look within for answers when I'm feeling balanced and confident. My intuition is my compass. And when I'm not feeling balanced, well then, yes, I seek support, which is a good thing, I believe, to ask for help. So where are things in the unseen world today? I wanted to speak with some experts in spirituality and get their take on our current cosmic state of affairs. We'll be talking with Alison Berman, a sought-after energy healer, medium and psychic, Kelly Surtees, well-known astrologer now living in Canada, and intuitive stylist Irina Isabella Clute, who has worked as a medium and is now in the film and TV arena. So today we're talking about my favourite subject, which is spirituality, and so excited to have you all here to talk about what is happening in the world at the moment, because there's definitely something happening. I'm not sure what it is. So Alison, you are a spiritual guide, you're a psychic, you're a medium, and you've been a paramedic as well, which we'll talk about in a later interview. So what do you think is happening at the moment?
Well, I would say that the change is definitely upon us. Okay, so we're awakening, and in order for change to happen, chaos has to happen first. You know, when people are sort of put into position for challenge, and when they are faced with challenge, it brings out the best in them, doesn't it? You know, makes them also reach out for help and reach out to their fellow man. Even though some terrible things have been happening around the world, we are seeing incredible feats of solidarity, love, appreciation and gratitude coming from those terrible things. I believe that everything happens for a reason. That's the way that I live my life, and certainly universal law sometimes quotes that exactly, doesn't it?
Yes, I'm with you.
But I think in order for us to grow and to evolve in the human race, we need to love and respect each other. And what's happening is it's bringing it to the forefront. We're actually seeing it firsthand on our television screens, on social media, and people are saying, no, this is not right. We cannot treat each other like this. We need to do something about it. This is the action year. 2016 is the action year. We're doing something about it.
And it certainly feels like it. Last year felt like a kind of getting ready for the action year.
Yes.
And yes, it's definitely out there on that. I think there's a lot of things happening, and people have a different sense of awareness that's come through. Kelly, you're an astrologer. You have a whole plethora of different avenues that you talk about. What is your take on what's happening?
Look, I do agree with Alison. We're in the middle of a longer Pluto in Capricorn cycle, and this is a once in 250 year cycle, which is about breaking down of old power structures. And we are seeing this around the world, which is leading to these huge shifts in power dynamics at the macro level in terms of governments and countries, but also at the micro level in terms of individuals really reassessing what they've given power over to and what they would like to take back, you know, to be in control of or in charge of for themselves. In addition to that longer Pluto and Capricorn cycle, which interestingly was one of these cycles around when the US was created. So that is going to be a country we're going to see some huge shifts, and we're starting to see that already. One of the other cycles we're in the middle of is Neptune in Pisces, which is probably the most compassionate pairing that the astrological cosmos could offer us, and that's where we're seeing these huge outpourings of emotion, but the idea of recognizing we're all connected and that there really aren't boundaries that separate us, and if one person is struggling, then we're all struggling. And so that idea of those who have sharing and those who have not, kind of speaking up and asking for that support. So it's a very poignant period with those shifts at a much more macro level than what we've experienced for many of us, you know, a couple of 100 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's big.
Yes, it's big. So Irina Isabella, what is your take? Because I know you're a psychic as well, you're now in the movie world and writing and part of that. What's your feeling about the change?
I would love first agree with my fellow ladies. The change is kind of what I said, it's simmering. We can all feel it on the different level, depends on what level we are. myself just being lately traveling a lot in fashion world, in movie world. I just come back from Cannes Film Festival, and definitely I can feel, and even in conversations and in the movies that are coming out, the consciousness is vibration, synchronicity, that is all coming now into the movies. I've just been asked to write a sequence for a great movie that is coming out, Symphony of Earth, and the sequence is on intuition, and I think that is kind of, it's telling us that the shift is coming on every arena, as you said, in financial and schooling system, in the big in governments, in films. So films are embracing that. The new movie that is coming, for example, embracing quantum physics. So what I'm seeing is all these different sciences, astrophysics, quantum physics, synchronicities, everything is coming, bubbling into big screens, into our lives.
Isn't that beautiful? Because that's the one thing I can feel is the synchronicity. Yes. I'm suddenly going, am I psychic? And it's not like I'm not, I'm not really, but it is that thing of going, something's happening. Yeah. So that's been the shift that's happened.
The 1111 awakening code, for instance.
Oh, tell me about that.
1111. You look at the clock, it's 1111.
Yes,
it is.
Yes.
It's called the awakening code. It's a subconscious program that's running within everyone, and so once the awakening code is lodged in the subconscious, of course, they're going to go, what's going on? I'm seeing this number all the time, it must mean something. It gets them to search, it gets them to look, right? And so, a lot of people that on my website, I'm sure that you girls have had the same thing. So what is 1111 all about, It is exactly that. It's an awakening program that's just in our cells, in our DNA.
Isn't that incredible? Is that anything to do with numerology as well, or is it?
Well, 11 is a master number in numerology, as is 22, 33. And yes, and it's about balance, the 11 energy, and getting the balance right. And of course, we've discussed this before about, as females, getting the balance right, being able to balance your own needs with your families, your loved ones, etc. Because a lot of females, of course, just give, and don't take anything back. So we're, as individuals, I think, starting to find the balance and getting to know at what I need then provides for everybody else, The cup flows over and everyone else benefits from it.
It's interesting because for me, like just doing the style of Mrs. V and understanding, yes, it's for women, and I can see that women are stepping out in the world, like they're coming out and they're being seen. But at the same time, there's a part of me that goes, I don't want it to be feminist. I feel for men, and I go, we're sons and we've got mothers, I want to bring that balance out. But go, okay, how do men be in the world and still appreciate and love women without feeling threatened? So there's a balance that needs to come in. I don't know, is that?
Yes, but you see, the balance automatically comes if you're giving to yourself, because you don't feel resentful, and then your partner doesn't react to that. Would you agree?
Yes. 100%. Yeah, and it also strikes me as another component of that Pluto and Capricorn cycle that we're in. Capricorn is a sign associated with ancient wisdom, like mystery religions, ancient paganism, basically. And that kind of earth-based natural cycle, sort of magic or wisdom, which was sort of the law of the days, going back, to our forefathers and foremothers. It's inherently feminine because it's about trusting one's internal cycle and one's internal rhythm. And I think there's an opportunity for both men and women to begin to trust their own internal sort of sense of what they need and what they don't need. And that is grounding for both. And then, as Alison said, we don't get the reaction, resentment paradigm playing out.
Yeah, and I love the whole pagan, that whole, I'm very much into shamanism at the moment.
Yes.
And I love the whole ancient side and that kind of bringing that into it at all. I mean, are you feeling that side, that what the girls are talking about, the self, looking after the self more? And
Yes, I personally think, and I can see, and we all can see, that the sacred feminine is awakening. And as you said, I love what you said, it's not feminism, it is respect of the feminine, respect of the woman. First, women starting to respect ourselves, and then the world mirrors that back to you. Then our male, masculine, is respecting back us. So I think the big part of this big shift is that dance between masculine and feminine, or sacred marriage of masculine and feminine within us. So when you're perfectly balanced, it mirrors back to you. And the most important thing is that masculine respects feminine, because feminine is intuitive and channels intuition and messages. And for women is like a chalice. For us it's easier to connect, and then we give messages to our men, to our masculine sides, and then they can go and hunt and do the job and listen. So I think if we look like that, that is then healing.
That's beautiful. It's so true, the balance. So I get it now. It's the internal balance, and then of course that's your external world, because it's all a reflection.
Yes, yes.
So is there anything, I mean, beyond in that journey, Alison, you know, if we're going beyond this year, and do you see something in the future that's coming else that you'd like to discuss?
So much. Probably don't have enough time today. Well, look, I mean, we are gradually getting there. Obviously, there was a lot of talk, a lot of hype over 2012, you know, and the world was going to end. Well, I think the world as we knew it did actually change. The perceptions and of course the awakening, which is what we've been talking about. People have started to take on board that what they necessarily see out there isn't the truth. What's being shown to us, we need to actually question, okay? We need to ask why. Why is this happening? And when you ask why is it happening out there, you've got to start asking, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Because we're actually programmed not to feel, okay? And that's part of the deal here. When we start to feel what we want and our own truth and our own integrity in that truth, we then got to start to go, well, what's going on around me here? And then people start to take responsibility, and that is the key, taking responsibility.
What's so interesting is that marketing at the moment is all about, okay, it's reversed. It's all about, tell me about yourself. I want to know and trust who you are, and I want some authenticity. And that's why they're going, right, we were talking in the previous panel just about going behind the scenes. People want to see what's happening. And what you just said then is exactly that, and it's reflecting everywhere. That's amazing.
I think that's why reality television has just gone through the roof, because people are actually going, well, this is real. Well, supposedly real.
Apparently.
Apparently, yes. But when we look at the concept behind that, it's that the people are actually unconditionally, I suppose, seeking truth. You know, we see a lot of extremes. And you might be able to explain that a little bit better, Kelly. Is it the extremes that are happening with people? They're going extremely one way or the other. Either you're really in the truth or you're really not.
Yeah, I have a thing, but you finish.
You have a thing,
yes.
And so, you know, and then once again, we're talking about this balance. Now, sooner or later, the collective consciousness is going to reach a peak where everybody's sort of heading in the same direction, and that balance is going to then slip over into the positive, okay?
Yes.
And then, and so we're kind of getting there, okay? But the more people that are awakened by their own truth, by searching for the why, this is why people like us are around. This is why people like you are around, so that we can say, hey, have you looked at it this way? That perhaps it might be slightly different to what you're used to, but how does that feel? How does that resonate with you? What is your truth in this? Okay, I really like the term resonate. I think you guys do too.
Yeah.
Because we deal in energy in our work. You know, what resonates with us is our own truth, and that can change, by the way, for people as they grow. You know, you can really feel very passionate about something one year, and the next year you've grown through experience, and you think, oh, maybe I might have been a little bit wrong about that. But it's not really wrong, it's just a learning process. So you've got to go with what feels right inside, go with your truth, what resonates with you at the time.
I love that, because then the judgment goes out of it too.
Yes.
You know, everyone resonates for different, it's different for.
Yeah.
What were you going to say about
Yeah, that piece around some people are really strongly in their truth, and some people seem to be maybe incredibly confused or lost, and we're in the middle of a reality challenging cycle, I guess, between Saturn and Neptune. So Saturn is our planet to do with things that are real and tangible and made manifest and solid, and Neptune is sort of the smoke and mirrors. So this idea of reality TV or virtual reality, is it real or is it some form? Is it a channeled kind of thing? And so that cycle started at the end of 2015 and runs until September of 2016. So we've still got a few months there, and there's a huge transition that some people are struck by it a little bit more strongly, but they are really questioning, and underneath it is it's a search for truth. What is true for me? What gives meaning to my life? And if this thing gives my life meaning, but my life is built on a foundation over here, what bridge do I need to build to link the two together? And so we're in that this time of really profound and poignant adjustments to bring that heart or that meaning, that soulfulness back into our kind of mortal world, I guess.
Beautiful. Anything you'd like to add, Irene?
I actually love what you said about this transition that you're talking about with polarities. I think also I can add that higher aspect of that would be polarities of invisible and visible. How we bring tangibility, resonance, vibration, entanglement of the atoms, the quantum physics. I love bringing quantum physics in it, in spirituality, because I think it's the science that's going to bring finally going to get together spirit and the science, because one cannot be without the other, and it's same with us.
And can't have either. And I love that, because I think, you know, I talk a lot about the unseen and the seen world, and a lot of people, it's like, I don't see it, therefore it's not real, and there is some shift around that.
Oh, that's happening, the huge, that is part of this big shift.
Thank you, girls. I could talk for another 3 hours.
So we're just getting started.
We have to finish here, but we want to do it again, so stay tuned, and thank you. Well, the unseen world may be unseen, but it's certainly felt, and it looks like we're going to be feeling it over the next year. So buckle up and enjoy the ride, and love the life you're in, because you're sexy, smart, and over 40. That's the style of Mrs. V.